Okay, Dr. Frank, we're back.
Yeah, that sounds nice. As you all can see, we are in Gibraltar, where it's always warm and beautiful. And if I tell somebody about that it's raining a hell of a lot, and that we actually have snow once in a while, maybe every 10 years, a little bit up on the rock, then people will say, well, he's ADHD, so it means he's probably lying again.
The topic of today's episode.
Yeah, one of them. That we are exaggerating a lot, that we already when we go somewhere, very often, we have this idea of that we have to tell people something that makes us interesting. Like when I was a little kid, there was a big accident. Yeah, like a horse twisting his foot or something. But there was always something. The reason why I'm 2 minutes late to school, it was because there was a big accident on the road. Huh? Nobody else had heard about it. Nobody believed me in any way. I hadn't made my homework because that is something I forgot. Forgot. That's the word. Very often, but I could not tell the teacher every day or every second day I forgot to make my homework. So I had to tell something, I made it all, and then suddenly somebody stole it, or it disappeared, we don't know how. Yeah. And there was nobody actually who after a while believed in what I said. We had a couple of other ADHDs who behaved exactly the same way. And at the end, we were the little group of people who always saw something that nobody else could see. And the reason why we always exaggerate is because most of us have an enormous inferiority complex. We don't think that people actually can love us or like us the way we are. We always think that we have to do something very special. So that was when I was a child, and then going up again through the years. Yeah, it continued being more or less the same. But then after a while, I stopped it because I started realizing, who am I bullshitting? Nobody else would believe me in any way. That makes that many ADHDs are solo. They don't have any friends at school. Many times I can see that with all my patients. Like somebody coming in, like yesterday, and with a mother, and how many friends do you have? 0. The guy is 16 years old, 17, going on 17. Nobody. Why? I don't know. I can't understand it. Are you talking a lot? No, I'm saying nothing because I have nobody to talk to. How do the teachers take care of you? Well, we don't have very good teachers. They are more or less lousy. Are they lousy to you alone or to others as well? No, they are lousy in general. Okay. And then the standard question I ask when I think somebody's ADHD, and what are you going to be when you are out of school? And the standard answer I always get is, I want to be an actor or a singer or a painter or something that makes me famous. Okay, have you been trying? Oh yes. And the last time I was in one of those televisions and programs, I came runner up. And his mother said, yes, he's very good at it. but he is enormously nervous and scared of failing. And that is also something that is classical for us. We have this inferior feeling, and we don't always believe in that people want to listen to us. We wait almost for people to throw us out. I've been singing to the radio symphony orchestra, and it was very, very good, but I didn't believe in it. So I said, can we make a retake? No, we take it this way. And I was so disappointed because I felt like now I can forget about everything. Yeah? And things. The only time I was really, really satisfied was when I had a big audience and the whole electrical system failed in Malmo. So I could not have the playback, I could not have anything. And that is when I felt secure, because I had something to blame on if it wasn't good enough.
So that made you subconscious or consciously think, well, I can do it. It freed you almost.
Yeah, I can stand here and I can say, look here guys, you know we don't have any electricity. So if it's all right for you, I sing a cappella without any music to it. Oh yes. And I sang Louis Armstrong's I See Trees of Green, Red Roses Too. What a wonderful world. And I felt that I put in a lot of feelings, and people were standing up afterwards and applauding. And that's where I almost came to the thought, next time I go, I sabotage the whole electricity so that I have to do it this way again, because then I can't fail. Yeah? It's something that is quite natural for us. So what I did with this boy, he's going to have next week, he's going to have the same thing again, another one of those where he has to sing, and I'm going to give him a hypnosis so that he is totally relaxed when he comes there. Yeah.
What is it about ADHD that it always comes with inferiority? Why does that happen?
It's very often because we already as small children behave in a very strange way. We do things that other children don't do. We listen but we don't hear. And if we hear, we don't do what they tell us. Or we think we do something similar to it and hope that it's good enough. But it is not. And so after a while, we find out that whatever I do, people shake their head. Whatever I do, I get criticism.
Always that whatever you do, it's something weird.
Something is wrong with it. Yeah, and so at the end there's this feeling that nobody likes me. Nobody wants to be with me. That can change actually when somebody suddenly says, oh, do you want to play with us? Then suddenly I get some value again. And if he then afterwards doesn't want to play with me anymore, then the old inferiority comes up again, even stronger. Not even he who wanted to do it was actually holding with me. And this goes on because the demands are getting higher the older you get. Already when you are 10, 12, 15, yeah, there are totally different demands. Like with 15, you're looking for a girl, yeah, and you're dreaming a hell of a lot, wet dreams, and you're dreaming a lot about how popular you're going to be. In my case, it was that the girls would come to me to talk about other boys and the problems they had. And I would help them, of course, which meant there were even more girls coming telling me about their problems. But none of them would stay there and say, oh, but you are much nicer. I would rather be with you. No. So it is all the time, the feedback is all the time, I am not good enough. And so I decided at that time, I was already partially paralyzed at the age of 12, and when I was 14, 15, I started doing Aikido. And of course, it hurt a hell of a lot. I had to take a hell of a lot of painkillers in order to be able to go through with it. But with every trip I came up, with every new achievement I had there, I felt a little bit more safe, more secure. And also, some people told me, you look much more secure. It's like you have grown a lot lately. And all I had been doing was a little bit Aikido. Yeah, that made me feel I don't have to be afraid of being beaten up, being more bullied all the time by the others. And of course, that helped me to gain some more confidence. Yeah? And then when I came higher up, all the time I had the feeling I could not concentrate on school, and I was daydreaming constantly. I was always somewhere else, and when the teacher said, "Frank, can you tell me what the answer is to that?" Uh, 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 and the teacher would say, like always, you have been daydreaming, you did not listen to anything, you have not done your homework, you not done that and that and that. I went down again. And when he came higher up in the gymnasium, as we call it, it was like it got more difficult. The subjects were not difficult to me, but concentrating was tremendously difficult, and that's the same for everybody.
What about the elements with ADHDs and hyperness? The excessive energy and the need to talk a lot.
The need of talking a lot depends on knowing that nobody listened a long time for me. So I had to very quick explain from Adam and Eve to today when I wanted to talk about my last diarrhea. It was simply I talked shit. Can only say that. And every time something happened or something I wanted to talk, I came with long explanations which bored the hell out of my listeners. So I had to learn all that, changing it. The temper we do have, with many of us, it's either we don't dare doing anything at all, or we are tremendously aggressive after only a short time stimulants. And that is, the hyperactivity comes from that, but not only from that. It also comes from never knowing what to do, all the time wanting to do something different, all the time pushing it again and again and again. And that's not very efficient. So what I've learned to do is not to say anything at all. Just being completely quiet. And then going to the teacher training school, then I had to talk again, and I came with the same long explanations that made everybody tired, and where the teacher at the end said, "Frank, if you want to be a good teacher, talk short. Because if you talk as much as here, then it means the kids will not have the energy to listen to you all the time. Yeah, they will fall asleep after a couple of minutes. So you have to compact everything. That's what I learned to do. And then I learned also to explain myself in a good way. So whenever I was talking, I was trying to do a little bit jokes and a little bit very, very, very sensitive, deep talk. So when you combine those two, then you got something. I got something out where I suddenly became more popular. At least when I had my big lectures or when I made my speeches about relationship and so on and so on. Uh, I had maybe 1,000 or 1,500 pupils sitting there, all 17, 18, 19, and they were so quiet because I actually made a good job. They were so quiet so that when somebody would have lost a needle, they would have heard it because I never spoke with a microphone. I always stood in front of the whole group and just talked the way I talk now. And that was good enough, everybody would understand me. And they were totally quiet.
And as someone with ADHD, because always the perfectionism plus high expectations comes
Yeah.
up, how did you overcome that so that you could speak to many people?
It's very simple. I prepared the first time I did anything any preparation. I prepared what I was going to say, to say, and how I could combine fun and seriousness. I was the actor standing in front of everybody and showing them with my facial expression. Now you can laugh. Now it's something serious where many of them actually started crying. So I managed to get this to, oh, I forgot to say, I actually was an actor in between. So I learned how to use my body and my face and everything. Yeah? This way I was standing up there as a form of actor. I was maybe starting to play a little bit on the piano and sing a little bit, and then turn around and go over and say, okay, let's start. And everybody was prepared already. He's going to start it. And then after a while, I got a good reputation, so that I actually had pupils coming in for 2, 3, 4 of the same lecture. Yeah, and even other teachers, they came in there. So it is learning by doing. Yeah? But what was painful was I would be very good in there. They would stand up giving standing ovation. And then I would be very alone because they all would go out and talk about me, but nobody would talk to me. So I was going out, going to my car and driving to the next place or driving home and feeling I would like to be part of this community, part of all those who were going out and talking about this Frank, and feeling that I'm near to somebody, because that is something we also have. We have the enormous need of being loved and to love. But we are too intense when we start something, far too intense. And that's why it often goes totally wrong. Yeah. But that's the way it goes. You have to learn all the time, and you're not allowed to actually recall the bad situations constantly and bring it for your eyes to see I am not popular. Nobody likes me. Nobody loves me. Hallelujah. Yeah, because that is one of the things we very often do. And that's why we also at home very often become a pain in the neck, because we are so much searching for love, so much searching for acknowledgement. Also when we go to parties, we are looking for it. We are not just sitting and drinking and having fun. No, we were looking for getting very close to people and being loved and feeling being loved. And that is something I still have today at the age of 74. I feel that it's tremendously important for me that people tell me you're good. Yeah, it's tremendously important when people say I want to be your friend. Yeah? It should not be important because I know people like me. but I need to get the confirmation all the time because I might be wrong. And that is a big problem for all of us.
Another sort of connected to that is even when people do say something, they don't believe what they're saying is true.
Exactly. It is the question of, do they only say it to make me happy, or do they really mean it? And then we come to the conclusion, most certainly they didn't mean it, they just wanted to make me happy. Or maybe make me shut up, which many times happened, I think. Yeah. So this is, this year, talking to you out there, all of you, about ADHD, about relationships, about sex, about whatever it is one thing where I'm always always looking for the responses I get from all of you. Whether it's a response that you maybe pay £5 to the Patreon, or whatever you do, or you just write a short note, we liked it, and so on and so on. So I've often asked Chris, are there any negative responses? Because I mean, we have had 10,000s of you listening to me, and I'm always afraid, when do they criticize me? When do they throw anything at me and tell me, look here, why can't you shut up and just forget about it?
Hasn't happened yet.
No,
4
and
years.
5 years almost,
5 years,
and it has never happened, and we have had hundreds of videos, and nobody has up to now reacted negative to them, and I'm so enormously grateful for it. Honestly, I like criticism if it is in a nice way, so that I can improve my appearance. I don't like it when people are nasty, and I'm not nasty to people, not if I can avoid it. Okay, guys, wish you a good time. Don't forget Patreon, please. We're depending on it. Take good care. See you next week.